So a Sonic the Hedgehog sequel just hit theaters, and Tails was requested by a lot of you in my last video. I've loved Sonic since I was a kid, so it's pretty exciting to see it hit the big screen for a second time. And while I haven't seen the sequel yet, I have seen quite a few positive reviews, and a really awful one written up by the New York Post. I won't get into any spoilers, but basically it felt like a whole essay of criticism written up because the writer thinks that this shouldn't be Jim Carrey's final film. Because, you know, apparently there's no dignity when it comes to starring in childish films, I guess. Anyway, I'm just excited that we get to see Tails, as he's definitely one of my favorites, and here's to hoping that the sequel does well enough for a third film, because I really want to see Amy Rose in this modern take on Sonic. So here's Tails, and who should I draw next? So, is this character's name Dr. Robotnik or Dr. Eggman? Apparently there's been some confusion in the past when it comes to this villain's name, but the reasoning behind it is kinda simple. Eggman was his original name, but when the game was released in the US, his name was changed last minute with the instruction manual stating the character's name was Dr. Robotnik. When the game was released in Japan, the manual said Dr. Eggman. In 1999, though, it was decided to put an end to any confusion by unifying the two names and simply stating that Dr. Robotnik is his official name and Eggman is his nickname due to his egg-like shape. Although this doesn't translate as well to the movie franchise, as Jim Carrey isn't as egg-shaped as the character. But what do you call him? Okay, but I'm forever laughing that the Sonic fandom was so repulsed by the first version of movie Sonic that the studios literally had to completely redesign him. It's honestly the most incredible thing, and I know a lot of people have different feelings on this topic because the designers, I'm sure, spent a lot of effort and time on that creation. But seriously, that Sonic was incredibly terrifying, and I truly believe the first movie would have completely flopped had they decided to move forward with it. Sure, the release date for the first movie got moved back, but the best thing that came out of it was the fact that we ended up getting an amazing version of Sonic that was true to the game's designs without the nightmare fuel. I mean, imagine what Knuckles and Tails would have looked like with that similar design. So who should I draw next? The sequel to Sonic just hit theaters, and we're finally seeing Team Sonic characters. I'm really excited y'all asked for Knuckles because he's an interesting character, who, by the way, isn't a hedgehog, but rather an echidna. To my more seasoned fans of Sonic, I'm sure this comes as very basic information though. Knuckles is pretty independent, headstrong, and above all devoted to his role in protecting the Master Emerald. Unfortunately, in my opinion, he's extremely gullible, as we've seen in games. For instance, when he falls for Dr. Eggman's constant lies. Somebody needs to help Knuckles out. Anyway, I'm not entirely sure what happens in the sequel film, but my guess is, if Knuckles is anything like Game Knuckles, then he's most likely fallen into the evildoer's mind game trap. So here's Knuckles, and who should I draw next? Is there more to Amy Rose than just a female character that chases Sonic everywhere? Sonic released in theaters, and it's definitely stirring up a lot of nostalgia for me. Let's talk about Amy, and why the fandom hates her. Basically, the opinions consist of she's obsessive, she's a stalker, she only cares about Sonic, and Sonic doesn't even like her. And honestly, I get that those aspects can sort of repel people. They're not the best, but I also feel like her character development has grown a lot over time. Amy to me is caring, and she's kind, and there are moments where I feel she's ambitious, as she's shown that she wants to be like Sonic. Plus, she has a hammer that comes out of nowhere, which I think is amazing, but apparently some find that annoying too. Anyway, I hope we see her in the Sonic movie franchise in the future. I was kinda hoping she'd be in the Sonic sequel though, but I guess not. So who should I draw next? It's always wild to me to see a character created for a single appearance in a franchise, and they end up being so well liked by the fandom that creators just have to bring the character back. As is the case with Shadow the Hedgehog. This little dude is in a lot of ways kind of similar to Sonic. He wants to protect the world from danger, and his intentions are good, but the main difference? Well, unlike Sonic, he tends to do whatever it takes to achieve this goal. And that's where the issues are between him and Sonic. Shadow is a character who kinda lacks morals, thus making him the anti-hero in all this. But he's not always like this, and if you've played the games, you'll know that he does have moments of selflessness and heroism. But what do you think about Shadow?